St. Peter's friends, we're back for another walk up the mountain. Hey, did you notice a lot more leaves have fallen down? We've had quite a bit of rain and some big wind, and so lots of those colorful leaves are tumbling to the ground. So watch for that as we're walking up the hill. Maybe you'll notice some differences from the last time you climbed up here with me. You guys have been talking about that question, like what was a highlight of your week and what was a low light, what was a happy thing and what was a less happy thing. That reminds me of a question I used to ask my kids every day when they came home from school. I'd say to them, hey, hi, welcome home. What's the best thing that happened to you today? What's the worst thing that happened to you today? I had some good things and some not good things last week, and I'll tell you all about it when we get to the top. I'll see you there. So, a good thing and a bad thing. I had some of each of those things last week. How about you? Oh, we made it back up to my favorite place up on the mountain. It's not really a mountain, but it's a pretty high spot. And I was saying before, like, notice how it's changing. Like the leaves are getting more, some of them are falling off. And I know you're not on top of a mountain right now because you're watching this video, but pretend, put your binoculars on, and what can you see? Pretend you're on a mountain. What would you see? I see trees with colors. I see a beautiful, colorful building over there, the old hospital. I can see the lake. I can see all kinds of things from up here. People like to go up in high places. I don't know, maybe it's because the sky feels so big when you're up high and people feel closer to God. Anyway, talking about good things, bad things, like highlights and lowlights from the week. I gotta tell you, one of my highlights was pumpkin pie. I really like pumpkin pie, and I made a lot of pies. And here's what made it super special. The pies were actually grown by somebody in my family. They grew the pies in their garden. I cooked the pies, or the pumpkins. I mean, they didn't grow pies. They grew the pumpkins in their garden. And I was able to cook those pumpkins and make the pies. That was a really big highlight for me. I love being in the kitchen, and pie is one of my favorite things to make. So that was a really good highlight. I felt happy about that. And then I had a disappointment too. I played with my kids that game, best thing, worst thing. So pumpkin pie was probably one of the best things. Worst thing last week, it turned out in the end, couldn't get together with all the people I wanted to get together with. And then I felt disappointed. I felt pretty disappointed. I think I did cry at one point about that because, I just thought, I was imagining, this big table, and anyway, we couldn't do that. So that was a low light, but we still ate pie, not together, but separately, and the pie was pretty good, I have to say. So, we've been talking about the things that Jesus taught people when he brought them up to his special mountain. And, he did go up to that place with just his closest friends that he hung out with, but sometimes crowds of people followed. And when he was teaching the Beatitudes, remember we've been talking about that? Blessed are you when this happens. A lot of people came up the mountain to hear his teaching about the Beatitudes. So today we're talking about one that I find kind of hard to get my head around. Jesus said to his disciples at one point, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." That doesn't sound like a blessing to me. We've been talking about how blessed are means you're happy, you've got everything you need. Blessed are the poor in spirit? Really, Jesus? Yep, he said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Remember, we talked about a kingdom of heaven, and the kingdom of heaven is kind of like how things work. So they work one way on earth, and they work differently in the kingdom of heaven. So back in the day where Jesus was there with his friends, there was a way that the world worked. and it didn't work well for everybody. So when I say poor, blessed are the poor in spirit, what do you think of when you think of somebody that's poor? You think about they don't have enough money, maybe they don't have a good place to live, maybe they don't have enough to eat or warm clothes to wear, a nice winter coat. So when you think about people that are poor, that's what we usually think of. And there were poor people, that Jesus was even talking to among the people that came up the mountain. Lots of people were poor because there was this system that wasn't fair. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that there were some people in charge and they had all the power and all the wealth and all the land and all the honor. And there were lots of people who didn't have any of that. In fact, they were partly poor because those rich, powerful people, they made the poor people pay too much taxes. You know what taxes are? Taxes are a part of the money that you have or you earn. You have to give it to the people in charge. That's okay because taxes help us pay for things. But if the tax system isn't fair and the poor people have to pay too much, that's not okay. So Jesus was, concerned about that. But this day he was actually talking about a different kind of being poor. He said, blessed are the poor in spirit. What he meant by that was people that were sort of discouraged, they felt maybe sort of depressed, things were not going well for them. And yet Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. People are having a lot of those low light, disappointing things happening to them. Jesus still said, blessed are the poor in spirit. Why? What's the promise of that? He said, because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Things work differently in the kingdom of heaven than they do on earth. So, there were these people with all this power, make fists like this. Yeah, I'm so powerful, I'm so strong. And sometimes we make a big fist when we want to show that we're strong and powerful. But you know what? If you've got your hands closed like this in a fist, because you're hanging on to your power, I can't give you something else. You can't put something in your hand if your hand is closed, right? So those people who thought they had so much power, they were missing out on some things that God wanted to give them. In order to receive something, you have to open your hands, don't you? Right? So maybe it's not the people with all the power who are the most blessed. No, it's the people who are able to be a little bit vulnerable. You know what vulnerable means? It means, that you aren't in charge of it all. And things happen to you, some good, some bad, you're not controlling it all. But if you open your hands up, open yourself up to God, he can give you things. So I think that's what Jesus meant when he said, blessed are the poor in spirit. They're not powerful, they're poor in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And God can put things into their hands. They can receive things from God better than when their hands are all closed and they feel in control. Yeah, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Well, every week I've been giving you a blessing, haven't I? So you know what to do when you're going to receive a blessing. I need you to open your hands up like this. Hold your hands out so that I can put a blessing your way. Are you ready? Okay, hold out your hands. This is the blessing. Blessed are you when you feel happy, sad, encouraged, discouraged, afraid, all those feelings. It's okay. God blesses all your feelings, not just the happy ones. Okay, I'll see you in our discussion group in a little bit.